equity are being held. The Institute of Contemporary Art carefully selected the pieces.
The idea of food and art is not a new one, but it is a really timely moment to look at the intersection of art and food and look at issues of food through the lens of art and the perspective of artists.
Organizers say besides the fact that food art gets people talking about some important social issues, Current LA Food is helping to elevate the profile of the local artists whose work is now getting international attention.
Current Food LA runs through November 3rd. For more info, visit currentla.org. A new partnership is announced to provide job training in manufacturing. A new grant to the City of LA will help provide safer homes for low-income families. And it just got much cooler to hang out in the Hoover Triangle Plaza. All this in City Beat. The Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department was awarded a $5.6 million grant for their lead hazard remediation program by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The grant will help in efforts to prevent childhood lead poisoning in homes occupied by lower-income families with children under 6. Mayor Eric Garcetti has announced the formation of LA Made 4.0, a partnership that aims to provide training and career opportunities in manufacturing. The program will include training in such avenues as biotechnology, fashion, food and beverage, aerospace, and defense. Councilmember Gil Cedillo celebrated the rededication of Hoover Triangle Plaza improvements with 2 shade structures, canopy trees, decorative pots, additional benches, and trash receptacles. Located at the intersection of South Union Avenue, South Hoover Street, and West 23rd Street in the University Park neighborhood, the shaded area makes for a great gathering location. It's a film festival that highlights LA stories as seen through the eyes of local filmmakers. It was a big turnout as a total of 26 short films were recognized.
I wanted to make something that sort of represents the side of LA that people, have always been interested in, but maybe don't know the story behind it.
The reason I was so excited about this contest is because it was, a chance to kind of join the community as a filmmaker. No matter how hard I'm working, to, make my dream succeed in this city, I also have to stop occasionally and appreciate the city itself and what it is.
New Filmmakers provides a huge service to the emerging filmmaking community. It represents those who are underrepresented largely in the film industry today.
Well, it's our first time, and so far we've been very impressed and excited to be a part of the community and meeting all the people that are here tonight.
It really covers the entire gamut of the filmmaking process, and it allows everybody that wants to be involved in film to tell their stories and give voice to their own visions.
If you love fast cars and auto racing, then you're sure to love an exhibit that's showing at the Petersen Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. 10 of the world's fastest, most famous racing cars are currently on display.
These racing cars are the best of the best, part of a rare collection owned by Bruce Meyer, the founding chairman of the Petersen Automotive Museum. The Winning Numbers exhibit has been attracting visitors all year long. They can experience the sights and sounds at the heart of auto racing and get an up-close look at the winningest racing cars ever. This 1957 Ferrari came in first more than 25 times.
It's a kind of Italian vehicle that if Americans had built it would call it a hot rod.
This first production 1962 Cobra is also part of the exhibit. And the 1960 Corvette you see here was part of a winning team at Le Mans, one of the most prestigious competitions in the world.
What's especially interesting about it is that it was one of the first Corvettes to ever race at Le Mans, if not the first.
Museum historians say it took Bruce Meyer years to acquire this collection.
There's somebody who's decided to himself that he's going to collect only the best, only the winningest, only the fastest, only those that are associated with the best race car drivers.
Besides the fact that these are some of the fastest cars in the world, what's also interesting is that many of them are still being driven.
In fact, Meyer and his friends drove many of the cars directly to the museum from Beverly Hills. After seeing the collection, visitors were completely in awe.
It's just wonderful with all these cars. We love it.
Paul Dirth had to come to the exhibit. He used to race cars back in the 1960s. He got emotional as he saw some of the cars once again.
I was there when they ran this. I was there when they ran that one. You know, and a few other dragsters here. I've seen them all run.
The Winning Numbers exhibit is the first installment of a three-part series called California Collecting. It's all part of the Peterson's 25th anniversary celebration. Each exhibit will feature prominent collections from some of the area's most acclaimed car enthusiasts.
The Winning Numbers exhibit runs through January of 2020. Well, math comes alive at a new interactive exhibit that's showing kids how fun math can really be.
It's so important as teachers to know that our students don't live in a bubble and they're not just in the classroom.
Math Alive is about life, but it's about where you find mathematics in life. And so if you're a person who thinks you're afraid of math, you think you can't do it, this is a perfect exhibit for you.
The thing that we measure is how much fun are these kids having and how much do they enjoy playing. And you know you're getting them hooked. And they're learning math without knowing that they're even learning math.
Subtraction and everything. It's easier when we get to come around and look around and have a hands-on experience with everything.
I go to the Science Center school and it's a lot easier. We know a lot about the stuff that we might want to be when we grow up.
Well, I want to be an astronaut.
Rev up your engine at a classic car show, bring your best friend to a Strut Your Mutt event and help save a life, and head over to a Day of the Dead celebration at Grand Park. All this in Things to Do. An all-day event featuring a classic car showcase, curated group photography show, multimedia art installations, automobilia, and more. The centerpiece of the Museum Auto will be the auditorium, which will house a curated art and photography exhibition with over 20 selected artists. Each piece centered on the theme for the show, which is the cultural and emotional relevance of the automobile. Surrounding the indoor group show, the event will host and showcase over 200 pre-registered classic automobiles, curated by their individual style, look, and energy, representing a variety of makes and models. It all takes place Sunday, October 27th from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Friendship Auditorium, located at 3201 Riverside Drive. For more, visit their listing on Eventbrite. Best Friends Animal Society is teaming up with partner rescue groups, shelters, and animal welfare organizations to help save the lives of homeless cats and dogs at Strut Your Mutt. Strut Your Mutt is a series of charity dog walks that brings communities together to raise money and save the lives of homeless pets. When you fundraise, you choose where your support goes, to Best Friends Animal Society or to your favorite participating local animal welfare organization. This year's event is on October 26th at Exposition Park in Los Angeles. Grand Park celebrates the traditions of Dia de los Muertos, in partnership with Self-Help Graphics, featuring altars and performances by local artists and community groups. There are 35 altars this year, curated by Self-Help Graphics, located throughout Graham Park, as well as the newly renovated Music Center Plaza. Graham Park's downtown Dia de los Muertos returns Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more of LA This Week.
Hi, I'm Daniel Kim with the City of Los Angeles Department of Aging. We're here to improve the quality of life, independence, health, and dignity of the older adults and family caregivers who live in our city. We have programs and services that cover a wide variety of issues facing both older adults and caregivers. Many of our direct services are provided through our local multi-purpose senior centers. Our centers have access to care management, nutrition services, transportation, evidence-based programs, and more. They're also a great place for you to connect with others in your own community. If you don't know where to start, our helpful information and assistant staff are here to help. We're able to connect you to your local center and other resources like health insurance counseling, elder abuse resources, and even job training opportunities. Also, did you know that if you provide unpaid assistance to an older adult spouse, family member, neighbor, or friend, you're a family caregiver? We have resources for you through our department's family caregiver training and support. For more information and resources, you can call us at 213-482-7252 or simply dial 311. You can also check out our website at aging.lacity.org. Together, let's make Los Angeles the best age-friendly city in the world.
Let's protect our wildlife together. Please, no smoking in Griffith Park.
Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October 23rd. Welcome to City Hall. Welcome to this City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Harris Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Lee, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Harris Dawson moves. Koretz seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Lee moves. Bonin seconds. Next.
Mr. President, there is a request to continue item 1A to Tuesday, October 29th.
Okay, so ordered without objection. Continue.
Items 2 through 10 are items for which public hearings have been held. There is a request from a member to hold item 9 on the desk.
Okay, let's hold 9. Prepare to vote on the... Hold on one second. Yes, Mr. Rue? 4, was that 4? 4, we'll hold 4 as well. Let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Continue.
And Mr. President, the ordinances for items 2 and 3 will be held over 1 week unless reconsidered later today with 12 members present.
Thank you. Let's continue.
Item 11 is an item for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, that item is now before this body. Do you have cards?
Yes, there are cards on the item.
Okay, continue.
Mr. President, that then takes council back to presentations, items called special or general public comment.
All right. Sergeant, why don't we remove let's start with Mr. Murphy. Are you here, Sean? Could you come up? You have items 9, 11, and general public comment.
Yeah. Good morning, Sean Murphy, CD3. Item 11, it's supporting. Item 9, I'm supporting. General public comment.
Give him his 1 minute for general public comment.
Okay. The streets need to be fixed. The sidewalk needs to be fixed. I've been coming here for 11 years to City Hall. I hope we have find a way for these greedy damn landlords not to raise rents.
Thank you. Mr. Previn, items 9 and 11. So let's give him 2 minutes for item 9 and 11, and then general public comment. Mr. Previn.
Good morning. When you say 9, sir, are you making some amendment to 9? Because it's not visible to the public, and it's in the section where you're not allowed to speak on it, I thought. But let's move on to item 11 while you get that squared away with Fauble, who's experiencing some dissonance. You know, American Architects, I guess it's called Institute of Architects, a great organization. And I think that this has to do with trying to make our city, more sensible. It's such a hot, sunny place. People quickly identified, I think Chris Hawthorne, who's the chief design officer, that it would be great if we had shade at these places where we expect the folks who were squeezing out of their homes to stand around, wait for the bus that we're not providing timely. We want them to be cooler, and we want to roll out some good design. So I hope that that's what AIA is thinking about, how to make Los Angeles a more comfortable, adaptive place for humans to live, especially as we push an increasing number of them out onto the streets with your idiotic policies. In particular, the idea that if we just keep developing luxury condos, that's going to solve the problem because all the boats will rise. In plain English, that's not working, sir. We've got empty big units of, in my neighborhood, Krikorian's presiding over 106, of which 60 are studios at $2,500 a pop. Who can afford that? Nobody can live in a studio. And then they're also, an individual from Alhambra is reporting that it's hard to believe, they're limiting they're limiting the number of people you can bring into an apartment quite egregiously. Like, she lives with her, a younger couple have a baby. That's okay, but if another person came in, and they'll cancel So I know you're trying to help the folks, but you're not doing a very, very good job because you're busy raising money. And that's why I wanted to bring up this idea about city oil well and gas facility inspection program. Sir, nobody does more for inspecting city gas and oil than John Lee. And that's why we're looking forward to hearing these announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Give him his 1 minute.
A general public comment. We just want to circle back about a week to when Michael Feuer gave us the bad news that he was not going to be pursuing, on behalf of ratepayers, the lawsuit against PricewaterhouseCoopers. I guess he talked about it with Krikorian, and they agreed we can't do it because we got a couple of crooks up in the city attorney who are pleading the fifth. So our case falls apart. Now, all the folks in the community say, what are you talking about? There's a lot of people at DWP who could testify, who could help the ratepayers go back and get that money. But again, it's the candidates who sit behind the horseshoe who want to wiggle around. By the way, I didn't see any of you guys at Taste of Soul this year, although I saw a lot of promotion for it. It's the same old thing. They put 50 grand in from LADWP at your urging, so you at least could show up, sir. Maybe you did. I didn't actually watch all the foot, but I know it's a nice event. But what I'm trying to say is that we don't want foul-smelling stuff up in the city attorney's office. So Mike Feur's got to circle back and think of a different way to get the ratepayers restored. We are not into being ripped off by crooked city attorneys. Do you understand what I mean, sir? I know you're trying to help one of the crooked city attorneys.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Okay, Madam Clerk, Mr. City Attorney, that concludes public comment. General and public comment on item 11 as well. Mr. Rue, do you have an introduction?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. And I would like to extend yet again, they come every single year, but teacher Robin Arnold and her students from Sherman Oaks Elementary Charter School, if they could all stand.
Stand up. Welcome. Wave. Look at yourselves on TV.
Why, yeah, there you go. Look at yourselves on TV. Say hi to your parents. And I'm sure you recognize them, and of course the teacher, Miss Arnold, because she's been bringing her students here to City Hall for the past 8 years. And let's give a round of applause. And also, Robin was a recipient of the Wonder Woman of the 4th District a few years ago, and also named Teacher of the Year from the Walk of Hearts Foundation. And last year, Robin also won LAUSD Teacher of the Year. Let's give her a round of applause. She is here today with her colleague, Christina Bludow, who was also recognized as Teacher of the Year from LAUSD. And together, this dynamic duo is teaching their students about how local government works. The goal is for all of the students to learn how to create change on the local level. Students have researched all 15 districts and will be delivering their research later today to each and one of your offices. And it is important that young generations learn how our government works so that when they grow up, they can be the change and they can move our city forward. Thanks to our future leaders for joining us in the Sherman Oaks Elementary Charter School. Thank you so very much, and I'll see you guys a little bit later. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Let's move to item 11 at this point in time. Welcome. We're going to have a presentation from the AIA. If you guys would just identify yourself and you're on.
Great. Thank you so much for welcoming us here today. My name is Barbara Boza. I'm the AIA Los Angeles president. I'm also managing director and principal of Gensler Los Angeles, just literally down the street.
And Greg Varabian, I'm vice president, president-elect, and a principal at HKS Architects in Westwood.
So I would just let you guys begin. You can go right ahead. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much. And I also just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge members of the AIA, American Institute of Architects Los Angeles chapter, that have also joined us here today. They can maybe raise their hands or stand up. Thank you. So, we really appreciate this opportunity. We have many members today spending time with the council here and members, so we can really create that relationship and that collaboration between the built environment. And so I wanted to spend a little bit of time just giving everybody a background on what the American Institute of Architects is. So just to give you a sense of scale, we're just under 100,000 people across the world in terms of license and members of the AIA. Here in California, we've got 11,000 members, and here in Los Angeles, which we are made up of licensed architects, emerging professionals, and student members, 4,500 members strong. And as you can see, we've got over 1,500 students, so I love seeing the elementary kids in the back of the school, because at the back of the room, because they are going to be our future for the profession as well. So who we are, our mission is really about looking at the power of design and architecture in every corner of Los Angeles. We're very diverse, very inclusive, because at the end of the day, we need to represent the communities that we design for. And so we're always striving to look at how we can, again, expand our vision in terms of representing the city, the built environment, in terms of as licensed architects here in the city of Los Angeles. You know, here is, I just wanted to give you in terms of where we are, in terms of our statement of values. You know, number one, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we are really about protecting communities from the impact of climate change, global warming, man-made hazards, increasing threat to safety of the public. And so again, as we looked at the design, you know, we talk about the buildings from the inside out, from the communities. That is at the core of what we represent as architects. Next year, and I'm going to turn this over to my colleague Greg, we're very excited that we are going to be the host city for the National Conference on Architecture.
Yes, thank you. In May of 2020, we're going to welcome approximately 20,000 people to Los Angeles, architects, designers, and real estate professionals to the convention center. We will be organizing hundreds of tours and workshops and special events throughout the city. We only have the opportunity to host this conference once every 13 years, so please reach out directly to us, and we can find a way to help integrate you as deeply as possible into our programs and initiatives. AIA National provides substantial leadership and resources, which we can make more readily available to you as you work to advance your local initiatives. We have our Blueprint for Better Living initiative, our Designing Safer Schools campaign, and most recently, we released our report on the urgent need for zero net energy codes, disruption, evolution, and change. And at the state level, AIA California has additional resources available. Examples include Relevance, which is the online portal to advance best practices, and their Plus One House website to share deeper insight into the ADUs. And then just a bit on LA, we're really active as well. In addition to dozens of tours, professional development workshops, lectures, design award competitions, we produce 5 conferences every year that reach well beyond 1,000 people.
Yeah, so we'd also just love to encourage anyone, you know, again, we were very inclusive, so again, we're focused on the members, but we also open everything up to everybody within the public. And so some of the conferences that we did this year, which everyone has been sold out, is really around looking at women in leadership within design, looking at our Encompass conference, which is about inclusive architecture, design for dignity, again, looking at housing and inclusive community. 2 degrees Celsius conference, which is looking at climate change, and again, purposeful architecture for health. So really try to focus on items that really have a direct impact on what we are doing in the community. Again, hosted the powerful conference right here downtown at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, again, sold out. Probably going to look at even a larger venue, but again, just the power of bringing women into the profession. Again, we're made up of a series of committees. So again, it's really about creating that involvement. And so everything from, as we mentioned, in terms of Healthcare Committee on the Environment, Fellows Nominating Committee, political outreach committees, again, really creating that distribution around the profession. Again, as Greg had mentioned, our ideas around with the students, incredibly powerful. Host every year and always looking at scholarships for students, again, to look at the design work into the 2x8 competition. And again, I think at the end of the day, it's really about creating that commitment to our profession. And again, what I love here is when this young girl is saying, is no older than the students in the back of the room, we do need more sleep because we all work very hard, but we are the future of the profession. So again, we have the opportunity, responsibility to shape our built environments to be a reflection of the values and the culture we strive to embrace. Is that you?
I can. Yeah, this is just a photo. It's a photo of actually 20 years of past presidents. So there's a good staying power with that. Once you're kind of involved with the Institute here at the board level, you tend to make it a kind of a career-long commitment.
Yeah,
and so
and this was taken last year at our Design Awards. So this upcoming Monday is our Design Awards program. So if anybody here would like to be a part of that or attend, please let us know. And it's a way to recognize some of the great work all throughout the city.
And we have some recommendations for how we can more expeditiously advance the initiatives you are all here working on every day. From an architect's perspective, we offer our annual advocacy platform. And we ask civic leaders to implement policies and procedures to, 1, ensure a more equitable and inclusive procurement, 2, achieve greater literacy and alternative project delivery methods, 3, embrace an open building approach for a more resilient future, 4, implement LA's Green New Deal with incentives to decarbonize the built environment, and 5, optimize processes and procedures to build affordable housing more quickly. One of the pieces that we ask you for your support on is the Compete for LA initiative, Council File 19078, and to join the One LA Regional Collaborative Program with LA County. I think, and that one is also to work with the AIA. Obviously, we can help kind of make those connections and help kind of translate some of the complex languages that are kind of between these two policies. And then I think this is open build. Yeah, to work with us to establish a multidisciplinary task force on open building pilot program, which will promote resilience, flexibility, and adaptability in our buildings. And then to incentivize zero net carbon strategies with a full menu of bonuses, density, FAR, height limits, fast-tracking permitting processes with by right entitlements, and immediately implement a REACH code to establish greater market certainty. And then assembling an ad hoc working group to identify proactive steps to build broader consensus and assemble resources to implement AIA-LA's permit streamlining recommendations. And I think we're going to have a video play here. It's not really up to us. It's up to technology. So
yeah. And so thank you all very much. So hold on.
Thank you.
Just run a quick. This just gives you just a very, very fast idea of some of the members right here in your community that are been participating with the various programs.
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
Well, we respect your time, so we really want to keep it quick and efficient and just give you a snapshot. So.
It's 3,000 slides, so we'll be done soon. I think it's looping, but yeah. But thank you so much. We really appreciate the time today, and really appreciate the opportunity to continue to collaborate in our great city.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you very much
for you folk for coming in. And I know that over the years I have met with your organization, you know, maybe twice a year, and we discuss a variety of things. I would imagine that other members of the council would like to be brought up to speed like I was, so maybe it's not a bad idea if you don't already to make sure that you have meetings with them as well, because we do want to help and we appreciate all of the work that you do. Is there anything that you just, other than the slides, that you'd like to ask of us while you're here?
Well, and just so you know, we are here, we have members throughout the whole day today, really meeting individually, going through, really targeting very specific items. Areas that we're really focusing on, as we know, is the number one priority for the city, is looking at, you know, obviously housing, homelessness, really how can we be part of that solution and team together, education, climate, many areas. So I think today was really about just bringing that visibility. Really appreciate the time that we're going to be given today to have a lot of individual meetings and really go through, and really coming through, we can identify what the problems are, but we're actually coming with some recommendations as professionals that where we can actually partner together to come with some solutions, you know, so we can really celebrate this great city.
Okay, well, know that your work is appreciated, and we thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we'll vote to note and file that. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Mr. Harris Dawson for a presentation.
Thank you so much.
Before you start, Mr. Herman, you came in making noises like a goat. We're not going to have you disrupt this meeting. Back to you, Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. President and colleagues, and good morning to everybody. Today we're very excited, honored, and proud to honor one of the shining lights of our city and our region. I am here today to present to you, the council and the members in the gallery, the one and only shining light in the city of Los Angeles, A New Way of Life, as led by the amazing Susan Burton. Let's give them a big round of applause. A New Way of Life is an organization located in my district and beyond. They have places in the 15th district and further south than that. They're along Central Avenue. They've been recognized all over the world by Time Magazine, by CNN. It was founded by Susan Burton, and it provides an array of holistic services, most importantly and including housing, for women coming home from prison. Susan's story is an inspiring one, and it's a special one to me. She was an active member of the Community Coalition in the 1990s, and she came in a meeting one day, and she said to Karen Bass, "I need help starting an organization to help women like me, women who get out of prison and have no place to go and struggle to reconnect and enter the legal economy, get reconnected with their families, and live a productive and holistic life." And so she started off with one house and built it and built it and built it. And now A New Way of Life is celebrating 10 years as a stable organization in the city of Los Angeles. They have one of the best recidivism rates of any organization anywhere in the country. So when women go into New Way of Life and they stay there and they get the legal clinics, the social services, the job training, the mental health, and substance abuse treatment, they very, very seldom end up back in prison. And so this is the kind of energy that we need in our community, and it's the kind of energy that we celebrate. So I'm proud to present today, along with some of the staff attorneys there that do the day-to-day work with women, the founder of A New Way of Life, Ms. Susan Burton.
Susan, before you get started, it's always a pleasure to see you. I know I just saw you several weeks ago at an event that Mr. Price had. You're really an inspiration. And, this country is supposed to be built on second chances. And whenever I see you, it makes me want to work harder. And I'm glad that Mr. Harris Dawson brought you in, because for whatever reason, when people think about, well, I guess we could talk about criminal justice reform for days, but for us, the most important component is the reentry component, and how do we get people back on their feet. And for whatever reason, people don't seem to put the emphasis on women as much as it should be. When they think of prison, it's like they don't recognize that there has to be a reconnection with family.
Yes.
They don't recognize that when a man is in prison, he gets visitors and girlfriends. It's not always like that. When women go, it's like things just get cut off. Yeah. And that story needs to be told, and we want to thank you for trying to tell that story, so people understand that it's a different level of challenge.
Yes.
For women that are in prison. So, I mean, you are the example. And it was just so good to see you a few weeks ago. I believe it was on a Sunday.
Yes.
And so I know not everybody exactly understands what you do, but let us give her another round of applause, because you are literally turning lives around.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you, Marquise, for recognizing our legal work. I started A New Way of Life in 1998 following my own prison experience. Women just didn't have a place to go. And I thought that if women had a place to go, everything would come together and it would be all right. But that wasn't the case. So in 2008, we partnered with UCLA, the Critical Race Studies Department, to build out legal services. We thought after we served our time, we would no longer need an attorney. But as it turns out, we do need legal work to help reduce the collateral consequences of a criminal conviction. After we serve our time, we come back to the community, and there are so many barriers, it seems impossible to successfully reintegrate back into the community. Thus, the New Way of Life Reentry Clinic was established. And we help thousands and thousands of people every year reduce the barriers that come along with having a criminal conviction. I'm very honored to be able to do this work, and I'm very privileged to be here today with the legal clinic to accept this plaque. I hope moving forward that this entire council will think about what it can do to strengthen the ability for people to come back into the community, to be able to be employed, to be able to get housing, to be able to reconnect with their families, and then be able to be a vibrant part of our community. I guess once I serve my time, that I should no longer be punished, and I should no longer be discriminated against. So I want to thank you again for this, and thank you also, President Wesson, for recognizing the value of a new way of life.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Mr.
And we want to hear from one of the attorneys that makes this process go, partnering with the Critical Race Theory program at UCLA School of Law. I want to bring forward the senior staff attorney for the Reentry Legal Clinic, Attorney Turney Lewis.
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Harris-Dawson, and thank you to the City Council. The people that I really hope can be recognized, though, are our clients. The folks who come into our clinic every day are the ones that have gone through the arduous process of rebuilding their lives after the criminal system has, helped to tear down whatever life they had before getting caught up in the system. And it certainly isn't easy for them to do that. To be honest, I wish that we weren't here. I wish that we didn't have to be here. I wish that our clinic didn't have to exist. But the fact remains that regardless of the years of effort and work and sweat and tears that our clients have put back into rebuilding our lives, unless they have somebody with a semblance of power and privilege to tell other people, here's their story, here's why they're okay, they don't get listened to. One of our clients had the metaphor that she gave to me, or the old saying that until the lion has a historian, the hunter will always be the hero of the story. And I wish that people would listen to our clients on their own and take their story from them at face value and understand them and hear them. But until that happens, we're happy to be here to help our clients be heard.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank you, Councilman Harris-Dawson, for bringing this recognition today. In fact, I think you introduced me to Susan several years ago.
Wow. We grew up together.
We did.
So I just want to know, and she's certainly become a friend of the new Ninth. Many clients served in the Ninth, a couple of properties in the Ninth, and we just love her. In fact, she was our featured speaker at our Shiro program last month, providing inspiration and hope and a real love to not just women but men in our communities who have been incarcerated, who strive to come back. And so again, Susan, we appreciate you. We appreciate the New Way of Life and for your colleagues. Thank you, Councilman, for bringing her to us this morning.
Go right ahead, Mr. Harris.
Thank you so much, Mr. Price and members. And so on behalf of the Los Angeles City Council, we want to present to the New Way of Life Reentry Legal Clinic and all of the attorneys that are with us here today, along with Susan Burton, a resolution on behalf of the Los Angeles City Council, signed by all of us and the mayor of the city and the other leaders of the city. So again, congratulations and thank you to the New Way of Life Reentry Legal Clinic. Come on up. You got to get it, yeah. You guys are in court every day.
Okay, let's vote on reconsideration. Madam Clerk, you want to identify the items?
Yes, that would be items 2 and 3.
Okay, let's do that. Let's vote on reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Now let's vote on the items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Bonin for an intro.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have another round of school kids here in the room. If the third graders from Kentwood Elementary could stand up.
Stand up, stand up,
The
stand
cameras
up.
could
Oh, wow.
grab them. All right, there we go. So these are students from the third grade at Kentwood Elementary in Westchester. They are here today, and they're going to be checking out City Hall. They are accompanied by two of their teachers, Susan Kim. Where's Susan Kim? 22-year vet, and this is her 15th year coming to City Hall. Received Teacher of the Year award this year. Also, where is Susan Dix? Susan Dix is a 30-year veteran of LAUSD, also received Teacher of the Year award, and is retiring this year. Enjoy. Welcome to City Hall. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Bonnet. Mr. Rue, you want to item 4?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I am very, very happy to see this motion reach the floor today. And I want to thank my colleagues, my co-authors in this motion, as well as my colleagues working hard with me on this issue with the FAA. You know, from meeting my colleagues, Councilman Paul Koretz and Paul Krikorian, but from meeting with my residents in the areas of Sherman Oaks and the hillsides, two things are very clear. One, there are obvious environmental impacts that the FAA is ignoring. And two, the FAA has failed to properly communicate with the public on major flight path changes. This motion calls for an independent consultant because, frankly, we need every option on the table. Our city can't stand alone in our fight against the FAA, and we need someone with the expertise to take them on. So I really want to thank Councilmember Koretz and Krikorian for their support and for co-authoring this motion with me, and I encourage an aye vote today. Thank you.
Okay, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, so we're going to move to item 9. Sergeants, I need to clear away the center aisle. I'd like to call forward Mr. Tate and Eric Tate. Please come and have a seat. Jeremy Hoke. Jeremy, please come up. And Pastor Q. No, I want them at the table. Okay, Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. If you recall, on October 12th last year, this council vetoed an action on the Board of Harbor Commissioners that extended the lease with California Transload Services, previously known as Cal Cartage, for a city-owned warehouse located on port property at 2401 East Pacific Coast Highway in Wilmington. Now, CTS and the various divisions of the parent company, NFI, had repeatedly been found to be in violation of federal, local, state, labor, employment, and health and safety laws, and this body rightfully stood up for the rights of the working men and women, to wages that that they are legally entitled to, benefits that they're legally entitled to, and safe working conditions that they're legally entitled to. And on October 3rd of this year, the Board of Harbor Commissioners approved a revocable permit with Toll Global Forwarding for a warehouse previously occupied by CTS Cal Cartage, which vacated the property on August 2nd. And the message was sent loud and clear that if you're going to do business at the Port of Los Angeles, follow the damn rules. And this resolution before us will urge motor carriers and warehouse operators to comply with all federal, state, and local laws. Also urges cargo owners to enforce their own codes of conduct in relation to companies they contract with to move their goods in and out of our port complex. But most importantly, it urges companies that took business away from CTS and Cal Cartage to consider bringing back to the new warehouse operator to ensure local jobs remain in place for longtime workers at this facility. And I want to thank all of us, this body, among other advocates in the labor and business movement who actually supported this change, and we were able to do so without displacing workers. That's something that a lot of folks, including folks at the port, said, don't do this because we're going to lose hundreds of jobs. Well, we called BS on that. And sure enough, today, Mr. Bonin, as you and I stood and said, we are preserving those jobs, and there was no displacement of workers. And here we are today with a company that will abide by federal, state, and local labor laws. So with this, Council President, we have some experts here before us who want to testify and say on and give us their feedback on the action that's before us today.
Okay, you guys select the order. Just identify yourself, and thank you for coming to help Mr. Buscaino with this presentation. Yes, sir.
So I'm Eric Tate. I'm the principal officer of Teamsters Local 848. I'm here to speak in favor of this resolution today. I want to thank Councilmember Buscaino and Councilmember Bonin for bringing this resolution before the City Council for approval. There are many bad trucking employers operating in the ports, such as at NFI. Companies such as NFI that are recidivist lawbreakers with deep pockets to settle their labor code and NLRA violations for pennies on the dollar, and then continue to break the law of the state, the country, and of the city. I want to thank you, City of LA, for sending a message to the port drayage community that law-breaking companies will not be successful in the City of Los Angeles, and I urge the passing of this resolution. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Pastor Q. Jamawi from the Church Without Walls, Skid Row, and also from CLU, LA. And we're a member of the Our Port, Our People, Our Ports Campaign Coalition, and I'm also the pastor of the Church Without Walls in Skid Row. I would like to thank the LA City Council members for your continued support of warehouse workers and port drivers. Thanks to you, Councilman Buscaino, for your leadership in introducing this resolution. As you all are aware of, a new tenant there's a new tenant at the warehouse and a new lease with key standards to ensure workers are able to come back to work, and that the new tenant, Toll, will follow the law and respect the workers. I've been supporting this campaign for a long time. Many of us have risked arrest and have been arrested in order to bring awareness to this issue. This is a huge step forward for these workers. I'm excited about it. Unfortunately, even though NFI left the port warehouse, it still continues to do business at the port and goods movement work out of its many warehouse and trucking yards throughout the region. The law-breaking practices still continue. Retailers such as Lowe's, TJ Maxx, Puma, who followed NFI when it left the port warehouse, should sever ties with NFI until it ends the law-breaking. Instead of community partnering with NFI, they should move their work back to the port warehouse and back to the workers who reliably move their goods for decades. On behalf of the faith community, I would like to urge cargo owners and those goods, I would like to urge cargo owners whose goods move through our ports to make sure that they are not partnering with companies that break the law by violating workers' rights and stealing wages. With that, I would like to say it is a moral mandate, and I commend this council for following your moral compass. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. My name is Jeremy Hoke, and I worked at the NFI Cal Cartage warehouse in Wilmington for 13 years. For years, workers like me shared our stories of the exploitation and abuse that took place in that warehouse on city property. As you know, Cal OSHA cited NFI Cal Cartage for countless health and safety violations. The warehouse looked like a prison, and the company treated us like inmates. When we spoke up, we were met with retaliation and intimidation. Just last month, a judge found in a case before the National Labor Relations Board that Cal Cartage had broken the law by silencing us, threatening us, and retaliating against us when we tried to form our union. I brought copies of that decision with me to share with you today. We workers endured a lot, but we stuck together and stood strong, and thanks to our action and the support of allies like Councilmember Buscaino and all of the City Council, it is a new day at this warehouse. And thanks to the worker retention ordinance, we're very excited to usher in a new era. And now that we'll be getting back to work, we want to call upon all the retailers whose cargo we moved reliably for decades and urge them to bring their work back to the warehouse. Customers like Lowe's, TJ Maxx, Amazon, and New Balance. I myself went to the Lowe's shareholder meeting back in April to ask them to stop doing business with NFI because of all of its violations. Now that Toll, a high road employer, is moving into the warehouse, we asked them to bring their work back to us. Finally, it's important to remember that NFI Cal Cartage is a proven lawbreaker and is still doing business at our ports and in our community. We ask this council to continue working to hold companies accountable when they mistreat their workers. We fully support the resolution that Councilmember Buscaino is introducing, and we thank him and this council once again for standing in solidarity with us warehouse workers and port truck drivers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Mr. Bonin did want to chime in, so if I could recognize Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Buscaino, for bringing this forth. I was glad to support this, and committee and in public. This was the right thing to do. I wanted to underscore what Mr. Buscaino said earlier, because when he raised this issue, he was warned the sky is going to fall, the bottom's going to fall out, there's going to be massive job loss. And there wasn't. And that's important to underscore, I think, because we hear that all the time whenever we try to buck the system and do something for workers or yesterday for renters. We heard it around this horseshoe when we were passing a citywide minimum wage, where people from certain interests came here and told us that we were going to destroy the local economy and destroy jobs. And lo and behold, when the Chamber of Commerce came before us with their annual report this year and last, wages are up, and it has not injured the economy whatsoever. It has actually helped. We heard it when people were saying we need to move into a clean fuel economy, and people said that'll drive up costs. Well, we just saw DWP Board of Commissioners, at our urging, Mr. Koretz, just approved a contract where solar is actually going to cost less than fossil fuels. We are going to hear this pushback from the system against the people when we push forward on Mr. Weston's initiative to raise wages for the drivers of the TNCs. We're getting pushback when we stand up for Unite Here and the workers who are trying to get a fair deal out of the contract negotiations with HMS Host at the airport. We're going to continue to see this, and every time that we do not heed those dire warnings, those chicken little warnings, and stand up for the people and stand up for people who need their government to fight the system on their behalf, we're in the right. And so I'm glad we're in the right again today. And thank you, Mr. Buscaino, and thank you all for your work.
Mr. Buscaino.
All I want to do is thank these experts here before us, Mr. President and members, and no one better knows the issues on the ground than you three, among other thousands of workers at the port complex. So just wanted to thank you for your presence and your testimony. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And again, thank you guys for being part of this discussion today. All right, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
All right. What is before this body, Madam Clerk?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, they are posted and referred. Announcements, members. Announcements. Mr. Lee.
Today marks the four-year anniversary of the beginning of the Aliso Canyon blowout. I say beginning because this is not a one-day occurrence. This was a 4-month thing of the biggest methane gas leak in the history of the United States. I was personally affected with my family, lived in a hotel room with my 2 kids and my dog and my wife for 4 months. This is something that we're commemorating all throughout the district, and I just wanted to acknowledge all the different groups that are meeting today to acknowledge this.
Thank you. All right, any other announcements? Can we rise for adjourning motions? I'm looking to my left, Mr. Koretz's side. I do not see any adjourning motions to my left. I'm now looking to my right. I don't see any adjourning motions to my right. Members, this council meeting is adjourned.